Hello and welcome to a special episode of Dexter Loves Annie podcast. My name is Kat. I'm coming to you from Buckinghamshire in the UK, in England. Hello everybody. This is a special episode. I'm doing a few recordings to schedule while I'm recovering from my operation. So this is pre-op, but you're going to be seeing it while I'm recovering, just to keep you entertained. So I asked on Instagram and Discord for some questions, so I could do a Q&A type video, and some lovely people have given me some questions, to which I will now respond. So let's get to it. Lovely Cheryl asked me, when did I first learn to knit? The answer is I don't know. As a child, for sure. My mum was crafty. My mum taught me, excuse me, everything craft-wise. Obviously in the early days, I remember making a rag doll really early on. Yeah, I don't know. As a child, so I knit on and off throughout my life. During the Trying for Children phase, I did a lot of children's knitting. I could never get the adult knitting right. I'd never really heard of swatching. Might have heard of it, but I might have ignored it. Anything that I tried to make for adults just went really horribly wrong. So I only knit for children, and then it got to the point where there were no children to knit for, and it got boring, so I stopped. I remember it was mainly all acrylic, and most of it's in the garage now, gathering dust. I also, as a child, had a knitting machine, and just the mental agility I had as a child to be able to, my teens, just do a swatch and calculate the stitches and rows that I needed, and then just to bang something out, which I did quite regularly. That was amazing. But obviously, you grow up a bit and then you stop doing the things that you're enjoying as a teenager. I really wish I'd kept that up, even if it's just to help me understand what I'm doing now, but it's coming back. So yeah, don't know. But I feel like I've always knitted on and off throughout my life. This is the longest period of hand knitting that I've had. I think I've been hand knitting now for about 6-7 years, and learnt new things and new styles and new techniques. So sorry, didn't answer that one very well, except to answer it in a very long way. Sorry about that. Okay, another one from Cheryl. Do you plan to try any new crafts? She says, oh, I'm really nosy. I asked you to ask me questions. Not nosy at all. Do I plan to try any new crafts? No. I think I've tried most of them. I can't think of anything that I haven't done that's out there to still be done. I've done mosaics, I've done embroidery, I've done cross stitch, I've done punch needling. I'm going to have another go at punch needling, so maybe that's my answer. I'm going to go back to punch needling. I've got a couple of cross stitch charts that things, you call them charts? I don't know. Cross stitch things that I want to do. I have a Cricut machine. I do things. I'm a trained silversmith. I worked as a lamp worker, which is making glass beads and structures out of molten glass, for 13 years. Had to stop because my lungs couldn't take it anymore after COVID. I couldn't sit in the shed with all the stuff going on. I've done glass slumping. I haven't done stained glass, but I don't fancy that. That's just more stuff to try and squeeze into this tiny little house. It's not happening. So no, I think I can safely say there's no other crafts that I plan to try currently. I would like a circular sock knitting machine, but that's kind of similar. Right, back to the list. Okay, next question from Lovely Mackenzie. If cost was no problem, what yarn would you have oodles of? Well, that is an easy question. It would be all the hand dyed in the world, all the indie dyed. It is expensive, but that's because so much goes into it. I couldn't say any particular yarn dye in particular, because there's so many good ones. They're amazing. Yeah, and I do have a decent amount of hand dyed stuff that I've dyed myself as well, to be fair. So I know what goes into the process, and different interpretations of different colorways and color combinations. I'm always amazed at what people come up with. So that. Next question. Ange Anderson. Favourite stitch, favourite project, favourite yarn, favourite needles, and then least favourite. Okay, so my favourite stitch, don't think I have one. I like stockinette, as long as it's in the round, because I don't like purling because it's slower. Favourite project, at the moment I think it's a Tin Can Knits Basic Hardy, because I've done how many now, 2 or 3. I would like to have another go at Kelly Menzies, the top with the lace in the sleeves. I'd really like to be able to wear that, but the one I made was just, it bloomed after blocking, too big. I've lost so much weight now, it literally just falls off me now. I'll put it on screen. It leaves me now. My least favourite project. I like most of the things that I've made. Anything that I try and do in chunky or super chunky, I think, to wear, because it could just be me, but I always think anything in chunky or super chunky yarn just makes me look enormous, and I almost always pull it out. Yeah, anything in chunky or super chunky to be worn on the body. Hats are fine. They would be my least favourite. So I tried a super chunky, it was like a vest. It had a collar, and I got almost to the end of it, and it looked awful. I looked like 25 stone. It was terrible. So that got pulled, and it was in acrylic as well, which didn't help because I don't like working with acrylic because it feels horrible. Okay. Favourite yarn, any hand dyed. Give me any hand dyed. Commercial yarn, it was Valley Yarns, but I'm no longer giving the supplier of Valley Yarns in the UK my money, because they've annoyed me, essentially. Let's break it down. So now my new favourite commercial yarn is Yarn Smith's 4-ply sock yarn, followed very closely by Drops, which is so affordable and amazing. Yeah, affordable yarn would be Drops, or Yarn Smiths. More premium yarn would be anything hand dyed. Favourite needles, I use, my favourite ones are ChiaoGoo, and I use circular all the time now. I don't use any flat needles at all. I think I use flat needles on my Coziest Memories blanket, but that's because I got short ones, which then broke because they're wooden. So my least favourite would be the Knit Pro wooden needles, because they break, and the wooden interchangeable needles don't do up properly. They're constantly coming undone. But my other set of interchangeable needles are actually Knit Pro Carbons with a Z on the end. And I actually really like those. They've got metal tips and metal screw bits, and they do stay tight, as opposed to the I think they're Symphony. They're kind of wooden, and they've kind of got different colours in the wood. I will put all of these details up here like I normally do. So yeah, favourites are Knit Pro Carbons and ChiaoGoo Red Lace. Thank you, Ange. Okay, Miss Kelly. My friend Kelly gave me 10 questions. Let's start. How are you finding colour work? Is it your new favourite thing? I love it. I love two-colour colour work. Two-colour colour work? So I think yes. Any more than two colours, not so much a fan, have to be honest. So the sheepy socks, there were 3 colours in those because there was a different colour for the face, different colour for the body, and different colour for the feet. I don't love the float situation with 3 strands, just not. And it wasn't a different colour for the feet, but yeah, it was 3 strands because of the base colour. It's not my new favourite. Well, I suppose it is my new favourite thing. But I think lace and cables are always going to be my favourites in terms of decoration. What is your favourite thing to knit? Socks. I've got more socks than I could ever wear now, I think. And I probably ought to start making my husband some. But I want all the pretty ones for me. So, you know, when he learns to knit, he can knit himself some socks. What is my favourite yarn, weight, colour? Favourite yarn, covered that. Anything hand dyed or drops or Yarnsmiths. My favourite weight, I don't have a favourite weight, but I don't like to use chunky or super chunky. I've gotten away with Aran in the past, and I'm okay with that now that I'm smaller. If I got any bigger again, I probably wouldn't use Aran. I just, because I have the big boobs, everything else just kind of, because the jumper comes out and then it just kind of drops and you look like you're wearing a tent. It's terrible. So I like a 4-ply or a DK or an Aran. Colour, usually my favourite colours are in the purple family, pinks and purples, but I like a combination of a dark purple with a black or a purple with a green. And then if I'm feeling really adventurous, purple and orange, you know, sort of Halloween colours. I'm perpetually in a kind of a Halloween state, I think. But I love colour. I love all colours. And that is saying a lot as a previous goth. I grew up, they called me a diddy goth because I didn't wear religiously all black. I always had a colour on me, but black's always been my go-to. So yes, there you go, there's another little snippet. I was a goth. I had long hair down to my waistband, dark. I think this is, we're pretty much in natural colour now, this top half, from about there up, but it was a lot darker when I was younger. Okay, what knitters books do you have? Which one is used the most? Well, I have a lot, so I think that might have to be a separate video because I'm going to have to make a big pile and go through them. What's used the most? The Stitch dictionaries, really, when I'm designing. But we'll go through that in another one, so stand by for that answer. What needles do you like best? Magic loop or DP, double pointed magic loop, or 9-inch circulars? Sometimes I would choose either of those over double pointed needles, frankly. I always end up managing to pull the wrong one out, or I get crampy hands, or I stab myself in the hand. I have used them a lot, and I have quite a decent range of them for when you need to do something and there's no other alternative. There are instances where that happens, but yeah, I would rather do Magic Loop or a mini circular. And I do have a ChiaoGoo mini circular set as well. My husband got a bonus at work and bought me them as a treat. Next question from Kelly. Do you ever knit anything for Andy? Occasionally. The first thing I ever knit Andy was a big jumper. It had a zip down to sort of, here, nice big collar. It was acrylic, and it was in the old days. It took me a couple of years to get it finished. And if you're a long time listener, watcher of this podcast, you know this story well. It was too big. Now that he's lost loads of weight also, it swamps him. It's ginormous. It's on top of the wardrobe, looking very sorry for itself. It's probably been eaten by moths by now. When I lie in bed and I look up at it, I was like, that was time well spent. I've also knitted him a few pairs of socks, and I have knit him a jumper using yarn that I spun specifically for him. And it's brown in colour, and it's got a nice sparkly green stripe across the chest. And he loves that, and that is wool, and it's nice and thick and toasty, but it's never really cold enough to wear that. He runs pretty cold anyway. He's cold-blooded. He's half Maltese, so he's got to be quite cold to put something on. That said, he does have Raynaud's disease, which means that he loses circulation in his extremities when it gets cold. So I have also knitted him several hats and gloves for the winter in the warmest wool I can find. So yeah, he has a few pairs of those as well. I should knit him more, but I am selfish and I'm not sorry. Okay, favourite tipple. Easy answer, tequila. The only tipple I don't like, Kelly, is rum. So I think Kelly and I would be quite compatible in terms of drinking buddies, because I would not touch her rum. And as far as I know, Kelly's not a lover of tequila. I don't think you've even tried it, have you? But yeah, I like a nice proper white tequila, none of this blonde stuff, or a nice oak aged tequila is lovely. It's like having a nice oak aged whiskey. It's nice, it's lovely. So just chugging tequila, white tequila, or a nice proper oak aged tequila. I like salt in it. I love a salt margarita. Happy days. Can't drink wine, really. It causes me to overheat very, very quickly. Time of life. We'll see what happens after the op, because, I'll have nothing inside me causing that kind of trouble, will I? So let's see if we can get back to wine. How big is your house? You say it's tiny, and I'm very nosy. It's tiny. I'll see if I can find dimensions for you. You're not seeing it because it's absolutely chock-a-block full of stuff because I'm trying to tidy up. I think from the front door to this door, front door's there, it's probably 5 or 6 paces, and then from there it's 2 paces to the kitchen sink and the window, and that's all there is downstairs. Upstairs there is a big bedroom, a small tiny box bedroom, and a tiny, tiny bathroom. My bathroom is so small that when you sit on the toilet, you can put one hand on the bath and one hand on the door. That's it. And the toilet is right up against the wall. So yeah, it's small. I'll see if I can find dimensions somewhere. But it's very untidy because crafters have stuff, and I have a lot of stuff. And that's why. How big is your stash? Well, questions you should not ask a lady. Oh, Kelly. Well, I think I've currently got 7 Kallax boxes full of yarn. On 6.5 because I've got some of my spinning stuff in one of them, like bobbins and whatnot. And I could probably fill another 2. So let's say 8 or 9 Kallax boxes worth. My fibre stash, you can see these really useful crates here. There's about 7 of those, and they're full of different fibres for spinning. I don't do as much spinning at the moment. I'm preferring to knit. I'm going to get back to it. But yeah, that's how big my stash is down here. There's some odds and sods upstairs. Oh yeah. Oh, confession time. Right, so clearing out mum and dad's house. Mum had knitting machines, several of them. They've all gone to WorkAid. They go over to Africa to help them make things to clothe themselves and maybe sell stuff off. I don't know exactly, but you know, I don't have room. I want a knitting machine, but I don't have room for it. So we need to be practical, and so they've gone. But there was a lot of yarn, and so I cherry picked the bits that I want. So I think I've probably got about 2 bin bags full of yarn on cone. Some is acrylic, but if I'm going to knit for the nephew, that needs to go in the washing machine, so that's fine. And there's some proper fibres there as well. I found some lovely crepe, and there's some Shetland, and there's quite a lot of sparkle. My mum was a total magpie. Yeah, so let's throw that into the stash debate as well. We will get to that at some point. I will show you some of the things I got from mum's house. My chain plying video already showed you one of the cones that I brought. It's a purple colour. It's lovely. Definitely got plans for that. But it's all mucky because a lot of it lived up in the loft and didn't get covered properly. So it's going to be a case of knit it up, have a bath afterwards, and clean it very thoroughly when it's made up, because I do not want to skein it and soak it and then recone it. I do have the cone winder now, but no. So that is the size of my stash. Question number 10. Who is your favourite designer? Obviously, I have no idea, because you're all brilliant. But if you held a gun to my head, it would be Kelly Menzies. Okay? She's not paying me to say this. Kelly Menzies, Row Cades, and then a very close second would be actually Tin Can Knits. I can't think of anyone else that I knit regularly. No. Yeah, that's it. Kelly and Tin Can Knits. Yeah, there we go. So I hope you enjoyed that. I'm so sorry for being distracted by the husband. I will go and beat him later. I'm going to do a separate video on my books, and I'm also going to show you my needle storage, because I am pretty proud of that. I used to always be trying to hunt down my needles because I didn't have them organised. I found an excellent way of organising them. So I think we'll do books and needles in the next video. And I'm going to be getting a podcast out this week as well, which you're going to already have seen. So I don't know why I'm saying that. I'm just waffling. I'm sure you love waffling. That's why you keep coming back, clearly. So thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one. Hopefully I'll be back properly soon. You're watching this while I'm on drugs and having a lovely old time, I'm sure. See you soon. Thanks for watching.